Hello and welcome to the Pirates Fan Forum here on DK Pittsburgh Sports Podcast Network. I'm your host, Gary Morgan. Jim, as you can see, did not go through drastic plastic surgery. No, Jim is on last-second hockey dad duty today, and pinch hitting for him is our good friend, Josh Booth from Bridge to Bucktober. We've been meaning to do something together anyway, man, so this is kind of cool.
Yeah, it kind of worked out. It's been a minute. How you doing?
I'm good, Brent. I'm good. I mean, you've been going through it over there, you know, doing the daily show over there for the first time, and it's kind of something we were going through together in a way.
Yeah.
Like it's the first time I've done it too over at Locked On, and we should probably talk about it a little bit. What was it like for you? I mean, it's as close to covering a team as we'll probably ever get, really.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I had a lot of fun with it. It was, I got to a point where I was like, I got to do more. And the longer shows were still difficult, like, cause we were doing 2 a week.
Yeah.
And so then it was like, well, what if I just break up that second show into 4 and just, you know what I mean? And then when you get to talk about baseball more, because you get to break down just like yesterday's game or something, you know what I mean? So I had a lot of fun with that.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of avoided doing gamers as much as I possibly could because first of all, the Pirates were playing miserable baseball.
Very true.
So, like, it got to the point where, like, even if that was the direction I wanted to take it, I also wanted some listeners. So I kind of had to be like, this isn't palatable at this point. Like, what do I do? Just every day show up and complain about the same things. Lo and behold, that's what half the market did. It was hard, man. It was a really hard experience, I think, for real. I honestly just tried to focus more on bigger picture stuff and directional suggestions because they're not taking my advice anyway. It's been tough this year.
Yeah, it's definitely was a challenge, but no, I had a lot of fun with it. And I think that I try to stick to baseball as much as I can. And I try not to do like game recaps, but just talking about the baseball aspect of it. The only like the silver lining covering the Pirates this year like that is you did have a lot of starting pitchers to talk about.
Yeah.
And so their outings and the way that some of these young guys kind of navigated through the season was fun. So
yeah,
hitting was not.
So the World Series, I was telling you before we even started here, you're probably one of my few friends who's still actually watching the World Series, right? And I am too, and a lot of travel helps with that. You know, these aren't games that I would be fighting my wife for control of the TV over, you know what I mean? But traveling as much as I did, nobody arguing with me in the hotel room. So I watched a lot of baseball, right? I watched a lot of these playoffs. I got to say, I'm shocked to see Toronto here. I didn't think they had that kind of team. I didn't believe it, even when they posted the record they did in the regular season. I just didn't see it. And still kind of think they're doing it with smoke and mirrors to a degree. But they've done it, and they're here. And we shouldn't cry poor for them. It shouldn't be a total shock. Their payroll is just a little under $200 million, so it's not like they're destitute or something.
Right.
But I'm much more shocked by them than I am the Dodgers. You know, I mean, we should probably talk about both teams, but let's start with Toronto. What do you think?
I think the thing that's really interesting is the way that they went through their season in a similar way that, not money-wise, but play style-wise, in a similar way that Milwaukee did. Both teams actually, in today's game, which is surprising, they try not to strike out. And so like they do this with putting hits together, good at bats, putting the ball in play more often. The difference is that Toronto has a $500 million player and George Springer, who has a ton of postseason experience, and Milwaukee's doing it with mostly young guys and a Christian Yelich who seems to never really show up. I don't think he got a hit in the postseason.
I think there's a few other with Milwaukee, but I think Toronto, for one thing, like, it's been a long time since Milwaukee's gone out and got a Max Scherzer for a run. You know what I mean? It's just been a minute since Milwaukee's really been able to fortify at the deadline the way a front-running team like that probably needs to. I actually found it kind of striking this year that they didn't try to get themselves a little bit more of a bopper to put in the outfield, or some insurance for Yelich's back. But we're kind of getting derailed because we're talking about Milwaukee, although that's fun too. Maybe we'll put that in the back seat.
Well, Toronto, a little bit of the parallel there. I mean,
Toronto's a good team,
and Toronto went out and got IKF.
Yeah,
so
right. Yeah, for free too. I mean, did that make you mad? I saw a ton of people so mad about it, man. Like, I couldn't be bothered by it at all. I thought it was time to get rid of him.
Yeah.
I also thought, man, if it got all the way to Toronto, nobody else picked him up. That's
right.
They had the best record in baseball at the time, I think, besides Milwaukee. So, he kind of got an awful long way before somebody wanted him for free. And he's done great. But we've said all along, he was a guy that on a good team would be a terrific utility piece, right? The problem is he can't be on a team where he's expected to be an everyday starter and a contributor. That's where I think the Pirates are dangerous, because they get guys like that and increase their role. And the only reason his role gets increased with Toronto is out of absolute necessity.
And Bo Bichette says he's going to be ready.
And if I'm them, I don't put him in the lineup.
Really?
I mean, now here's why. It's spring training now for him. Are you going to do that right now? IKF's actually been hitting. Jimenez has been great at short.
Right.
I don't know that I'd make that move right now. I think I'd use him as a pinch hitter. See if I could squeeze him in as a designated hitter. But I don't think I'm putting him in the field right away.
Yeah, that's interesting. I don't know. I mean, this
Not
is
to
a
mention,
guy who
he wasn't exactly killing it last year either. I know he was okay this year.
Well, wasn't he the top average on the team this year?
Yeah, but the year before he was awful. And you take that much time off being hurt.
Yeah,
it's hard to jump right back in, man. Especially against some of what he's going to face against the Dodgers.
So he played 100. He played 139 games. When did he go down?
Towards the end, last month or so.
So I don't know. I think it'd be interesting if he hasn't been gone all that long. I mean, I don't know. You know how this game is, though. You got to play every day. You know what I mean?
We got a great comment here from Greg here. He's interested to know if either of us have high hopes for the offseason and will Ben do what is needed. I'm just going to say we're going to get to something along these lines later in the show. Okay, we will start talking about the Pirates a lot more. I just really want to wrap up talking about the World Series, and we're going to take a break first, come back, and we're going to hit the Los Angeles Dodgers, unlike anybody else who's faced them in these playoffs.
At DK Pittsburgh Sports, we take pride in coverage that connects our city's fans to their favorite teams. Now, that connection's stronger than ever. Introducing our all-new state-of-the-art app. Find expert inside reporting and original podcasts. Check live box scores. Track the latest stats. Chat it up with our community of thousands of fans, all in one place. The new app from DK Pittsburgh Sports. Coverage that connects.
Hey, welcome back to the Pirates Fan Forum here on DK Pittsburgh Sports Podcast Network. I still can't believe after a full year of doing that other show that I haven't messed up once on here yet, saying the other one. Just not even once. Pat on the back for me, for real.
That's right. That's right. I didn't have to change the name, so.
So let's talk Los Angeles Dodgers, and then we'll talk about how they specifically match up against each other a little bit. Expected. I mean, it's probably the yawn selection of the World Series here. I was really pulling for the Phillies, mostly because I thought it was the last year for that unit.
Yeah.
And I think they've been actually a really well put together higher spending team. You know, they bought pieces, they believed in them, they built around those pieces, they added to it when they needed to, and I just liked their story a little bit better. But alas, and the Padres were the other team kind of like that I was thinking about, but the Padres might still have another chance or two in them.
Oh, for sure.
The Dodgers, though, this was expected. This is what was supposed to happen. They're going to go ahead and ruin baseball with 4 more wins, right? You know, the dumbest quote I've ever heard.
Yeah.
But what do you think, man? Is there any stopping them? I mean, look at that rotation they're planning on throwing at them. Shohei Ohtani doesn't go until Game 4.
Which is ridiculous.
Yeah.
It's just ridiculous.
What do you think? Is there any beating them? I mean, we shouldn't just jump right into the matchup, but I guess we should in a way, because the Toronto Blue Jays do have a different approach. And they did just take down a really strong rotation in Seattle. So it's not like they haven't seen some good pitching. They do take a different approach. Maybe the Dodgers are so used to racking up strikeouts from guys trying to hit home runs that maybe they can be susceptible to a team that's just trying to make contact on pitches.
Yeah, it's the Dodgers are, you would think, the total package, but until you get to their bullpen, if you can find a way, and I mean, the book has always been on Blake Snell, wear him out and get him out. And he hasn't been that guy. Blake's whole thing throughout his career.
He's been in empty the tank mode all postseason, though, because he didn't pitch this season.
I know. And that, but even then,
a weapon.
His thing is, I don't care about walks. I'll walk anyone because I'm going for the swing and miss. I'm going for the strikeout. And he's good enough to get out of those jams. He doesn't care about walking guys. And if you're a team who can walk and just make him throw a lot of pitches, even if you don't do the damage, if you can get him out after 5 or 6 innings, you give yourself a shot if you've kept it close. And so that's kind of the thing that I think that, and I don't know how that lines up with the Blue Jays give a good at bat. And so there are some guys that work the count, but not in the same way that we see, I know that like close to home, that we see the Pirates try to work a count where they're taking hittable pitches early.
No.
Toronto's not going to do that. They're going to pull the trigger on those.
They'll jump if it's there.
So if Snell uses that to his advantage and says, well, I'll let you get that base hit. I'll let you hit a solo homer. I've got the Dodgers lineup behind me, but I'll nibble when I need to nibble. But like, I don't know, man. I think he's smart. And Glasnow's the same way. He doesn't go deep into games. I mean, that's why both those guys worked out so well in Tampa, because they got such quick hooks, which I think is the super interesting thing, because Dave Roberts was kind of the, was he not the guy who made MLB create the minimum 3 batters? Like, because he would just be like, lefty, change my pitchers, righty, change my pitchers.
But also I would say he won the World Series last year based on how he managed that bullpen. And he may win the World Series this year in part based on how he managed this rotation.
Exactly.
His strengths changed, and so did he. You know, I mean, like, and whatever you want to say about the team he has to manage, you still have to push the right buttons, and he does seem to push them awfully often. You know, I mean, so hard to really say anything. I mean, even in the game that they almost lost, where he was really trying to get Trinan to get the close, you know, to get his confidence back, because he was such a weapon last year for them.
Mm-hmm.
And then he had to go to Sasaki, and, you know, whole thing happened the way it happened. that could have been a disaster real easy. But
Mm-hmm.
instead, it was just trying to get the confidence back of this important dude. I mean, sometimes you got to do that stuff as a manager, and it took nuts and a 3-0 lead in the series, probably. But you know what I mean? Like, they were up big.
The thing that's painful about, I say painful because I know that everybody's just mad at the Dodgers right now. But like the thing about it is they do so many facets of the game well. It's not just buying those players, but it's understanding Max Muncy was a dumpster dive move that we criticize Ben Sherrington for doing all the time. Justin Turner was the same thing. Kike is only Kike in the postseason. The rest of the season, he's just Enrique Hernandez, just this guy that doesn't hardly play. Really, I mean, and so like they're built for exactly this. And I'm curious if Toronto seems to handle this. Like I keep comparing them to the Brewers, but they have the superstar power and they have that it thing about them that I think Milwaukee's just missing. Milwaukee is, for lack of a better word, they're built for the regular season.
Yeah.
And I think that, like the Dodgers are built for the postseason. They didn't care. They were down. A bunch of people were hard on them. Oh, 88 wins or whatever. I think they ended up a little bit more than that. But like it was like they might not even win the division. It might be the Padres and all this stuff. And they're just like, dude, we don't care. We just want to get in. Then we got all these horses coming back. We've got postseason Kike. You know what I'm saying? You got the whole thing. And they've had so many guys like that over the years. Chris Taylor and Jock Peterson and all these guys that just show up in the postseason. And it seems like it doesn't matter what. And then Mookie moves to shortstop. He's going to win a Gold Glove. What are you doing?
Yeah, I mean, and he had a down season with the bat too, but it doesn't matter once you get to the playoffs. He's one of the big reasons that they won the first series. And Freddie Freeman, you know, he's just Freddie Freeman. He just keeps doing what he does.
And one of baseball's good dudes too.
I don't hate the Dodgers though. No. I don't. They're not doing anything illegal. They're not doing anything against the rules. They're not even really doing anything shady. They're just doing the best they can to win for their fans. And I think that's all I would want anybody to do. I just want everybody to have the same abilities. That's all. I just think that would make for a better league in general, but doesn't mean that I don't enjoy watching the team that they put together. I'll root like hell for Toronto. I mean, like I would love to see Toronto win.
Is there a U.S. Canada thing for you at all?
Unlike, I don't care about any of that. I'm not. I just don't think we compete with Canada really. You know, like sure in hockey, you know, or curling or something like that. You know, or I'm sure they could kick our ass at soccer like everyone else. But you know, I just don't think about countries like that all that much. They're just another team. They're actually a drivable team. They're always really nice when they come down to PNC too, or spring training. This year there was a ton of them down there in spring training this year.
Yes.
So really nice people. I'm rooting for them. I hope they win. I really do. But I also don't think that the Dodgers winning is like some foretelling of the future to come and it'll change the landscape. I don't think that at all. I don't think the Dodgers could win the next two and it would change that. The financial realities of the game will change that, and the cable market crashing will change that, and that's what's going to force all this to actually change. I don't think we need as fans to be rooting for anything in particular to bring that on. Okay.
Well, I don't think Toronto changes that either. Like, I don't think that if they don't win, like it's still Toronto. They're still,
and they still spent a decent amount of money that
right.
a lot of teams couldn't do. So yeah. But then again, you know, Toronto might just turn around and show everybody that was cool, but now we've got to let Bichette walk because we can't afford to keep him. You know what I mean? And or they might surprise us and hold on to him somehow. And then we're one and done most likely because they will never be able to build pitching around it like that. You know what I mean? Like they'll be just a good team that you don't really want to play because they do got Guerrero and Bichette and all that, but that's all they are. They're the Tigers. They're the harmless Tigers that had Cabrera for all those years and Rob Deere and Cecil Fielder, but they couldn't do a lick of anything else.
Right? And now Scooble.
Right. Now they got Scooble. And Scooble, that's an interesting thing for us to jump into, Josh. Scooble is apparently about $250 million apart from the Detroit camp. And I can't help but think of our imminent future because, I mean, we will be in this same area as the poor Detroit Tigers, and they will absolutely pick up his last year of arbitration because they were so close this year. They will think next year they're going to be just as close. They will absolutely bring him back for his last year. They won't trade him. But man, it's sad. You know, it's sad because he means so much to the team, and they worked so hard to develop him, and it took so long for him to reach superstardom. Now he's here. It's just painful to watch what I know is my future.
If you were going to offer Paul Skeens a contract, it has to be this offseason, at the very latest next offseason. And I would think that maybe next offseason is too late. They're trying to offer Scooble a contract when he's 1 year away. He's not budging. He shouldn't budge, right? I would advise him not to. And that's just because you're 1 year from that. And I think that you could take a look at that team and make a serious, like you would have a serious conversation on your hand if they were the team that's built to do this for the next 4 years. I'm not sure they are, or if he's carrying them and maybe with some clutch Kerry Carpenter and I don't know, you know, some of the young guys they have coming up. Like this isn't even, when Miggy was there, they had other guys. And so they built around him, and they had Verlander and Scherzer, and they had Miggy, and they had some other offensive pieces too. And I'm not sure that they're that team right now. I don't even know if I would pick them above Cleveland after watching again what Cleveland did.
I bet they think they are, though, is the point.
But
you might be
does
very
Scooble,
right.
though? You know what I'm saying? Like he's sitting there thinking, like,
year.
do I think? You know what I mean? And so for him, I mean,
I don't think that most guys who sign a 10-year contract or whatever, which is what guys like that are looking for.
Right.
I don't think most guys that sign a contract like that think that it's going to be pansies and roses for all 10 years, that they're going to be anywhere. And I'd have to imagine he's smart enough to know that if the game doesn't change, Detroit's not going to be a place that's in it every single year. That's not going to change no matter how altruistic or smart the Detroit management group is. It just won't. And he knows that. So, I mean, again, you're asking them to deal with their arm behind their back, and everyone wants to put up all the walls. I do the same thing with Paul Skeens. Like Livy Dunn really wants to live in Pittsburgh, I say it myself. Okay, well, that's one thing.
Sure.
And then I said, well, you know, Paul's kind of savvy with the media too. He'd probably handle anywhere pretty well if he really wanted to, and he's going to be great no matter where he goes. There's two places where he could go, most likely. And if things don't change, again,
right,
at least when it's his own choice. Pirates could do anything. But that's a conversation that I just don't want to have all the time. And it might be my biggest argument for financial change in this game. I just think it's unhealthy for so many fan bases to just know they're not going to be able to keep something incredible on their team.
Mm-hmm.
It hurts. It's not something I think anybody wants to feel. It's like in the NFL. There's a reason that they've gone so far to make sure that you could have enough flexibility with the cap to be able to ensure that you get to keep your franchise quarterback in place. You know, it's doable. You don't have to do it, but it's doable. Because if it
Right.
wasn't, you'd have fan bases that riot. I mean, like,
Yeah.
imagine if Joe Burrow, after being injured as much, see, you're real close to Cincinnati, right?
Yeah.
Imagine if Joe Burrow, after all these injuries and fighting back and how close the Bengals have been, not so close now. Imagine after all that, he's like, I'm out of here. And Cincinnati has no way to even pray of paying him, which they wouldn't.
Right.
He'd be going to Dallas tomorrow, or pick your big city.
Right.
It just that's why this sport needs change. I don't even care so much exactly what it is. I don't need to nail down all the parameters. Make the fan experience better. Give me that possibility. Give me the possibility that if we hired somebody smart, we could get where we wanted to get. That's all there is to it.
Right.
I feel like half the team's got a bunch of bent nails and they're asked to build a treehouse. Like, it's not fair. You can do it. It's going to take you longer. You're probably going to bang your thumbs about 50 times trying to straighten those nails out. You'll get it done if you keep working at it, and maybe your kids won't fall out of it. That's what it's like being a Pirates fan, watching Major League Baseball sometimes, for me.
Yeah. I mean, there's just so many things that have to go right, and and the stars have to align, and they've done that twice in the last so many years. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But the consistency's there for the haves,
yeah,
versus the have-nots, and something definitely. And I don't. I've said this on our shows. I'm sure you've heard. I don't think it's ever going to look like what other sports look like. And obviously I could be wrong, but I think that there's still a path.
It's impossible that you are wrong. There's no way it'll look like the other sports.
Right.
It can't.
Right.
It can't.
I think there's still a path to do something. I mean, there's already a shared revenue, whatever the word is, I can't think of now.
It's like wholly insufficient for what they would need to do.
Right. There's a system in place right now that essentially just taxes the cap and has a loose floor that is essentially non-existent, because it's just, if you don't spend to the bottom dollar that you have to spend, which is, I think it's 100% of what you get, you have to put into it. So if you receive 50 million in shared revenue, you have to spend, your payroll's got to be 100, period. That's it. And so, like, that's your floor. But, like, what's the risk if you're under that for 3 years? You start losing shared revenue. There's no real, like, you know what I'm saying? It's like the opposite of a tax. And so while there is something in place,
impossible to do.
Sure. Right.
I mean, you have to be almost injury free, and everybody on your team, for the most part, has to be making minimum salary. And I say injury free because if you start racking up injuries, you will accrue that payroll. Mm-hmm. You will absolutely accrue that payroll, right. Even adding on more minimum salary players. It'll
for
get
sure.
There. Like, it's really hard to do. Like, you got to do it on purpose. There's no accident about it.
And the example I always bring up is the A's signing Luis Severino to 3 years, $72 million. He's nowhere near that money, but they were like, we have a certain amount we have to spend.
All he's ever wanted to do is get out of there too, and nobody will trade for him. It's awesome. So I have a crazy idea. We've been talking about all this depressing stuff about what the league is and everything, and we had that early on question about what is Ben Charrington going to do the right thing and everything. I say F it, Josh. And I told you I'm going to surprise you with this one because I want your initial reaction. I'm going to hit you with it, and then I'm going to, out of fairness to you, go to break. Unless you, like, spit all over your screen or something. Then we'll stay so everyone can see the cleanup. All right. Here's my idea. Ben Charrington is not going to make a good trade, right? We've all heard it. Bob's not going to give him enough money to sign anybody impact. F it. All internal. Call up the kids. Connor Griffin right out of spring. Valdez right out of spring. Get them up here. Get them started. Nothing but kids. All internal. Everything that's here already. Bring back your arbitration guys, even Joey Bart. Start right there. That's it. If he's not going to do anything right, get these kids up here and just be done with it. At least give them a shot to latch on this year before we go into a potential shutdown. And while you're at it, extend Connor Griffin before he sets foot on the field. 10 years, $80 million, get it done. That's what I'm going to leave you with. Josh, think about it for 10 seconds while we take a quick break, and you get the first word when we come out of it.
At DK Pittsburgh Sports, we take pride in coverage that connects our city's fans to their favorite teams. Now, that connection's stronger than ever. Introducing our all-new state-of-the-art app. Find expert inside reporting and original podcasts. Check live box scores. Track the latest stats. Chat it up with our community of thousands of fans, all in one place. The new app from DK Pittsburgh Sports. Coverage that connects.
All right, welcome back, everybody. And I'm sorry I lied, Josh. Second word. I hope you've done a lot of thinking in those 30 seconds and you're ready to respond to my brilliant idea for how the Pirates should move forward this year. It's called the F It Method. And I want a t-shirt about it. If you're listening, Shop Yins, get that t-shirt going. The F It Method. I love it. I think it's the way forward.
So for starters, Connor Griffin, lock him down. I'm all about it. I would have a lot less reservations about that than I would the whole picture, right? The whole method. Even though, okay, well, no, I'm all in on this. We're not going to even though anything. No rabbit trails.
I mean, I'll explain my rationale if it helps.
I'm just going around the field like Triolo's at third.
Yep.
You're probably, well, I mean, second
Gonzalez
base, you got plenty.
Short.
Yeah.
York at second.
Well,
Horwitz
you got,
first.
yeah, Connor at short.
No, I probably have Connor in center field.
Oh, now you got some explaining to do.
I'd put Connor in center field.
What are you doing with Cruz?
I'd move Cruz to right field.
Okay.
And I'd put Reynolds as my DH.
And you're, because at this point,
and I would let him share DH, and I would let him hit off the bench, and I would have
and play some defense.
I would have out in left field Valdez, and I'd start it just like that, and I'd run around the diamond, and I'd have Henry start, and I'd run through whoever won in the spring. Whoever won. That's all I'm saying. The only reason I say this is because, Josh, let's say like the Pirates do something way out of freaking character and go get an actual named free agent that has had some impact. Like, let's say they go get Harrison Bader, hot name everybody's really liked. It'd be nice to have a backup center fielder who's right-handed, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he could certainly man a position. He could certainly man left field admirably. And he would add, that would be a decent signing. I can't imagine it's more than like, 10, 12 million. But I don't think this is in dream world. Okay. Might even be a one-year guy. You might not even need to go multiple years with him. So, okay, this is an attainable goal for the Pirates. How much better does Harrison Bader make this team than Connor Griffin potentially could?
No, I mean, that's the thing. It's a floor only.
Forget it. If the payroll's really only going to go to like 90 million, I still have heard 100. But if it's really only going to go to 90, forget it. Let's get a couple relievers. Let's not even play the game. We don't need any starters. Let's just not play the game. Don't get me another Tommy Pham is what I'm saying. I don't want it. I don't want to do it again. I don't want to watch any more decrepit players come through here. I don't. I don't need to celebrate anyone else's 10-year anniversary here. I don't.
That's fair.
I mean,
That's
for
so
real.
real.
Give me what you got. Hit me with your ammo, brother.
That's
I know
so real.
you outthink me on this stuff.
No, I still think in that scenario, if Griffin's in center field, it pains me to say, but I think you're probably still better off with Triolo at short rather than Gonzalez, and going with maybe York at third. That's not the greatest either, but it's at least I think the difference between Triolo and Gonzalez at short is probably better. You're probably better positioned there than the
I would
difference.
say,
You know
fairness, what I mean? Right at this moment, Triolo is a better shortstop than Griffin, too. Right at this moment.
Ooh.
He's not there yet, defensively.
Okay.
No. He's got the arm, he's got the range, but he doesn't have the experience at that position. He's only been playing it for a year. Like, he's not ready there. Like, and I've heard that from people in AA. I heard that like they love what he's doing. Raw athleticism. But you want more experience than that, right? I think like Jared Triolo is probably, if you're just going for who's better defensively, Jared Triolo hands down. And probably always will be, if only because he's such a damn good glove.
Yeah, but it's not that good at short.
I think Connor in center field could be a Gold Glover. And I think that would improve this team drastically.
I do think that too.
I'm just saying, man, like, argue me out of it. Like, talk me off a ledge. I'm honestly thinking about going on my other show with this. This is where I'm at. I'm sitting here thinking to myself, I'm going through all the options. I started like going through the free agent market for outfielders. Boy, it's gross. It's gross, man. I just don't want hardly any of it. Any of the attainables. Come on, I'd love Kyle Tucker, Kyle Schwarber, or whatever. But you're not going to get that.
No.
So I'm looking at the reasonables, and I'm thinking, like, take a crack at Eloy Jimenez? Like, that's where I'm at, bro. And, like, I don't want to do it.
Right.
I don't want to do it anymore. I just don't. Like, trust the dudes you got here. I'd rather see Cam Devaney get looks. Like, I'm to that point. Like, don't bring in a 30-year-old guy that hasn't been good in 4 years when I've got a 30-year-old guy or 29-year-old guy who you thought about 6 weeks ago could be.
Yeah.
Like, make it make sense to me. Like, I'm trying to talk myself out of it because I know it sounds crazy, but I almost am to the point where I just freaking want it.
All you're doing at this point is you're battling in your head. Do I care about a floor, or do I want to push to do something crazy, right? Because I think doing something crazy isn't much different in going with Valdez in left field, even if it's Griffin at short, and just saying, like, this isn't Altoona, buddy. You're going to have a better chance to field a ball in Pittsburgh than you are in Altoona.
Or we'll live with
nobody's played shortstop well in Altoona.
Or we'll live with the growing pains anyway.
Exactly. And I think that to get the bat there, I think you live with that. I mean, offense has been the thing. We haven't really had a good shortstop in a few years anyway, so it's not going to look a whole lot different. I know that Triolo's sure-handed, but the numbers are bad at short. They're negatives. And for how special he is at third base, it's a huge drop-off when you consider how special the numbers are at third versus what his numbers are. Even at second, he's a negative, player
let me
at
compromise
short.
with you. I think Jared Triolo would be a good center fielder. I don't care. Put him out there.
Except it's range that he struggles with.
I honest to God think he would be fine in center field.
Yeah.
I don't care. He's a glove I want. All I'm saying is, here's the stew pot. You've got all these pieces. We can argue about where they go. Because somewhere in there is the new catcher we got too, Flores. You want him up here too.
Right.
I don't care. I'm not sitting here telling you he's displacing Horwitz. I don't think he is. He might displace Bart. Whatever. That's fine. He's part of the picture.
Yeah.
Just screw it. The more I think about it, they're not going to get a third. Like, if you don't get Eugenio Suarez,
Yep, that's exactly right.
if you don't get Eugenio Suarez, you are not upgrading third base this year.
Right.
Not via free agency.
And even then, it's an older guy, like you said. Now he's coming off a 50 homer season, all said. You know what I'm saying? So that's a little different. And so even if it's whatever it is, and by the way, sign a 2-year deal. You probably won't have to do much for that second year anyway. So sign a 2-year deal. Quit getting cute. Give him an option if you want. Who cares? If the worst case scenario, he takes it and you got a good player for another year. But
right.
The thing is like, even if you don't go that, because even if you go that way, even if you go the Harrison Bader route, even if you go trade and find somebody else to play left field and do something like that, all you're doing is raising the potential floor to say, we could probably get, if we do that and we do it at each position, at least 2 positions, at least one of the short or third and the left field, until somebody pushes somebody out of the way, whether that's Valdez or Griffin or whatever. What you're doing is you're saying like, yeah, that process could bottom out hard if Valdez just strikes out every at bat, if Connor Griffin can't play shortstop, if the bat was never ready, if Triolo's bat is what many people think it is, and what we saw at the end of the year is still just Triolo at the end of the year. If all those things still ring true, then that thing's going to bottom out and they're going to win 68 games. You know what I'm saying?
I'm kind of
or something like that.
If all those things happen and Cruz and Reynolds have semi-normal seasons for them,
yeah, it's going to get better.
Then I think I'm looking at a team that wins just about what they won this year.
Right.
Again, go spend 15, 20 million on some crap outfielder that I'm going to want you to trade badly, whether you're in it or not. That's fine if that's really what you want to do. I don't think that I care. I'm just not interested, man. Like, if they go and get Cody Bellinger, okay, that's a try. All right, that's a guy that's probably going to opt out of his Yankees, but you don't opt out because you think you're getting less.
No.
So he's already putting himself up in that ridiculous area. And are we the Twins? Are we going to take a Carlos Correa type deal and sign a guy for way more and give him the option to leave next year? I doubt it, because we're not creative enough to do that. And we don't have the balls to risk that he might actually take it and stay. You know,
right. So like I said, what you end up doing is saying, okay, if it's not Bellinger, if you're going, I mean, Suarez would be the big player in this scenario. He's old enough that he would sign a short enough contract to do something like that. And then, like I said, whatever you get out in the outfield, if that thing bottoms out, you're probably still a 78 win team. You know what I'm saying?
It could be a hell of a lot worse, man. I could be looking for a headline starting pitcher and not being willing to spend money.
That's
a lot
would
worse.
Never happen. Right.
That's a lot worse. Right.
Yeah. And you could potentially make this team better at, like you're saying, just with Cruz and Reynolds having normal seasons, or Cruz finally having that solid season front to back.
I guess in a way, the Pirates, they're really by payroll. We know it's not going to go up a lot. Right. They're already telling us, at best, we're getting into the playoffs, right?
Full stop.
That's if everything goes right and blah, 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 we're going to get into the playoffs. We're going to hit that wild card. That's what we're shooting for. I know that's what it is. They're not saying division. They said playoffs. I get it. I understand that as a goal. I just don't think that you're going to put enough money on the table to actually go and do that. And I don't see it in the free agent field. And the trade side of it, I think you'd have to eat salary. You'd have to do something like I've suggested in our group chats when I was like really high one night. Like, like when I'm talking about like going to the Red Sox and trying to get Trevor Story. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, the reason that I suggest something like that is because they've got Marcelo Mayer. They're already trying to figure out what to do with him, move him to second base. They're talking about now. And second base has been taken up by that Hamilton kid and the other kid that they brought on that they signed already. They're trying to, they've got a lot of pieces and parts. They might like to get rid of a $25 million guy. Now, if you were going to be a team willing to try to make an impact move, you'd go get a stud shortstop who's way long in the tooth and injury prone and pay him way too freaking much and not have to trade much to do it because of that. That's the type of move a team like this should be looking to do. I'm not even telling you the Red Sox would. But that's something I'd like to see them pursue. They aren't gonna. Why do I want to keep banging my head against the wall about stuff that normal teams might look at? Like they're not going to do that. So screw it. Give me the kids. Give me something to root for. Give me this kid that has got an OPS of 2,000 something in the AFL right now. At least give him a shot to win a spot in spring.
Weirder things have happened.
Wouldn't you rather see that? I mean, wouldn't you rather see? I know you're biased against Tommy Pham. That's why I'm hesitating to bring his name up.
Yeah, I'd rather see Valdez last year.
When you look at the free agent board, Josh, as much as you dislike Tommy Pham, you're objective too. When you look at the free agent board for outfielders, you don't get too far before Tommy Pham's the best option for what the Pirates can do. Or will do, however you want to take it. You get what I like? It don't take you that long to get to him. And I'm just saying, I don't want it again.
No.
That's my big message here. Don't shovel anything if it's going to be crap. I would rather you not break ground than break ground and build something crappy. Just let me see what is here. Build it with what's here. I'd be much happier because I wouldn't pretend. I wouldn't have to talk about how incompetent you were with your ads and pretend that it didn't have anything to do with money. I won't have to pretend that they could have spent 20 million more and didn't.
Yep.
Just spare me. Don't play the game this year. Just sit it out. I think the team might actually do better. And I'm kind of not kidding.
It'd be hard to argue for too long. I mean, because the other way is actually putting forth a good effort to make a trade for a left fielder and to sign somebody like Suarez or somebody like, I'd say Bichette. You know what I mean? You bring him back to Hague. Just go get that guy. And I know he might actually be a really great fit because he's not a 40 homer guy. He's a 300 average guy.
Right, but
almost doesn't exist.
It's a really thin free agent market at the very top this year at position regardless. So he going to get paid by somebody is the point because the pickings are slim. And especially at impact positions, you're going to want he's going to get paid. Pete Alonso is going to get paid like crazy.
Forgot about
somewhere.
That,
yeah. In fact, I hear Boston's thinking about it, which might pry somebody I would have loved to have gotten a long time ago free. Tristan Casas.
Yeah.
It can't happen now.
But then now, really, you're pleased with Horwitz, so you've kind of closed the door on first base. Even
I don't need him now. And even if I needed a first baseman, I think this Flores kid might play out there, and even if he doesn't, Josh, I think where I'm at mentally, I'd rather see him try. I'm done. I think I'm done playing a game that Major League Baseball doesn't want me to play. And I've watched enough of these other teams, like the Tigers largely. Tigers have built that thing internally with a bunch of guys that just last year weren't going to do crap. And this year they did crap.
Right.
You know what I mean? And the Guardians just traded away their starting, second baseman. And, all they have is Ramirez.
Yeah. Who's coming off an awful year, though.
Traded away Naylor. They They didn't look like a team that should be in this at all. But younger kids come up and they got energy. Miami this year, I thought
Right.
I would have much preferred watching what Miami put on the field. A bunch of young kids learning how to play the game together. I'd rather watch that than like a bunch of, end of the rope veterans that like playing out the string, looking for one more paycheck, trying to lead these here kids. Well, I don't want them leading them. I don't want guys being led into being journeymen.
Do you think that? And it's probably a setup question. It might even be rhetorical. Do you think that this pitching staff is the only thing that allows you to believe in this approach?
Yes.
Yeah, I think so too.
And I would say it's less about believing in it and more about just throwing my hands up. You know what I mean? Because if you gave me 25 million, I'm looking at the free agent board. I don't see where I'm getting the offense that I think this team needs. I think they have a better bet of getting 20 home runs out of Connor Griffin than I do any free agent that I can see in their price range. I think they have a better shot of getting 20 home runs out of Esmeralda Valdez than I do any free agent I can see them signing in their wheelhouse. And that doesn't mean that that's right, because maybe, Josh, they should still go and get the guy, even though he can only give them 10, but he's a steady, fine. Go and get some plugs and whatnot. But
yeah,
which
is why I go back and forth on the Keller thing, because trading Keller for a left fielder, probably Keller and a prospect or two, because that's just how it works, clears up enough money that then all of a sudden you can. I mean, they've already cleared up 40 million of it, and now if you can get rid of another 18, now there's obvious costs that are coming into that, arbitration, things like that, and of course the Connor Griffin extension. But like after that, I mean, I still even at 90, if that's the number, you still can land a $25 million third baseman in Suarez. I mean, like it's probably there once you've cleared that other 18 off.
Maybe.
Plus the future money that, that he's going to be owed, next couple of years.
I would think, like, let's say Cincinnati offers similar money. That's where he goes. It'll be home for him.
Yeah.
He's hit 50 home runs there before. He knows he could do it again.
Yeah. Any hitter would be smart to go there rather than
I think that marriage is probably like already percolating, probably, or going back to Seattle. But regardless, I think you could give the Pirates that much money, and I don't think that they would get it done.
No, I don't think so either.
Any of those bigger guys that cost that, I just don't. And
we
I
haven't seen it yet.
I think it's precious few guys that can actually hit the kind of home runs that would impact this offense the way it really needs impacted. In other words, a long-winded way of saying Ben has failed here, right? He has. He has failed to put a team on the field that can compete. And he's too far away with, unfortunately, not enough parts really in his price range to shop for. He could have gotten lucky, and this could have been an overflow year where there's a crap ton of free agents on the market, and you could pick off a decent player for a decent price and have it help you out more than you'd think. That's not where we are, I don't think. So to me, I think all the consternation of I think I just say, Ben, this is kind of the bed you made. Let's see it. Let's see what it feels like to sleep in it.
I mean, Valdez hitting 20 home runs and Connor Griffin being an impact player is probably Ben's best chance at "I told you so."
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that working.
I've said for a long time, the best story that could possibly happen would be that Ben is successful. Yeah. That would be the absolute best thing in the world. And I mean, I would love that. But next year's going to be a weird year. I was just talking to somebody the other day about, they were asking me about the salary cap because I've done a couple shows on it recently. I had some questions about it and everything. And I said to him, I don't even know that the All-Star game is guaranteed next year. Like we're talking about like next year, like if the owners continue to be as open as they have been with talking about a cap system, or at least the willingness to explore caps, I can guarantee you the counter threat from Tony Clark is going to be, if you say it again, we're striking at the All-Star game.
Mm-hmm.
And I think you're going to see the owners either clam up or they're going to go after it, because they would kind of like the players to strike, because then they don't look like the great Satan.
You think?
So,
It feels like the owners would be, if you threaten that too much, I feel like they would jump out and lock it out first.
they're either going to lock it out or they're going to strike. If it happens in season, I guarantee you it'll be a strike.
Yeah.
Because they're the only ones that would lose money.
Right.
And no owner is going to purposefully take games away from their players in the middle of their fans in the middle of a season. It would be players, and it would be an unhealthy work environment situation, they would claim, because of the stress of talking about this. You know what I mean? So I don't think it's a guarantee we get through next season clean. This team's clearly at least got 2027 hanging over their heads in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
They need some kind of help. If we're talking about 100 million being what they feel they can actually do this year, then something really bad has happened, Josh, because that wasn't even the case in the middle of the last decade. So something's gone wrong. Like, you know what I mean? And I really don't. I'm sorry, you guys. Some of you guys want this to be like a cartoon villain from, Bugs Bunny days or something, where they're all done. I honest to God do not believe that his pockets are just like getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. I just don't. Like,
no,
sure, he's making money, but their payroll
probably not.
Their payroll is going. I'm sure he is. I'm sure
his value's going up.
He's got too many minority owners, and they own too big of a percentage for this team to not be making any money.
Sure, I guess I just mean like him specifically.
Yeah, again, I'm sure he's not going hungry.
No,
but I don't think that they're as far off as people think. In other words, like, I don't believe that they believe they could spend 150 million.
No.
Even if I could convince them, and I think this is where I come down on Travis Williams. Travis Williams needs to be explaining to Bob that spending 150 million now will translate to this, and this happening, which means next year when we spend 150 million, it'll actually be completely covered because of what we've brought. Like, but they're not seeing things like that.
No, and the numbers I think that, and these are obviously out of thin air, but the numbers that I use for that is that's the argument at 120, which I think is where they could get to. Listening to Neil Huntington talk on Foul Territory some months ago, talking about when you push, you operate from a deficit.
But that's how you know that it's real, because what is Neil Huntington's incentive at this point?
Right.
To be pretending that he could have done a lot. Like,
right.
I know we don't see the books. We will if there's ever a cap system. Just FYI, everybody. That's kind of another benefit. I just think it's not as far off as people think it is. That's all I'm going to say. If you think that means I think it's 30 million more he could spend, fine. There's no reason to argue with you. Point is, they can't just catch up with their neighbor.
Yeah, I don't think that the Pirates could operate at 150.
Not for long. Yeah.
Oh yeah, for sure. But I don't. Yeah, it's It's a big difference.
Again, interesting idea. I would love to hear what you guys think. Many of you have told us in the comments, and I'm just saying, I started thinking about this about 3 or 4 days ago. And before I go rogue, I do like to bounce ideas off of Josh. So I did it live. I did what I do to him via text message live for you. And I do this to him, once every couple of weeks. I send you something nutty.
Yeah. Hey, what about this?
I'm just saying, man, like the more I think about it, the more I just think that I could probably add more with kids who are admittedly learning on the job than I could with some of these veterans that they've brought in. If, let's say, Connor Griffin were to get off to a really slow start where he just doesn't hit the baseball for the first month. Oh no. You mean, and he didn't cost $5.5 million when he did it?
Right.
And let's show as much trust that he's going to turn it around as we did Tommy Pham. Let's let it go. Let him play.
Could you imagine?
Let him learn.
Yeah.
I mean, think about, we talked about Miami. That's what they did with Kyle Stowers. I mean, that's what you have to do. If you're going to develop kids, you got to give them a damn chance. It's ridiculous it took so long to get Nick York to the league this year. For real.
Yeah. Yep.
And we talked about even Billy Cook was terrible, but there was no reason at his age for him to have not come up and factored in to play center field, even if it was just what Ji-Hwan Bae did during the O'Neal Cruz injury.
100%.
There's just no sense in not doing that.
I think a guy at that age, sometimes that unlocks something.
I think it's a kick in the butt sometimes. I thought he played good when he got called up the year before, and it's like they paid no mind to that in spring training this year. There was no edge given to them at all to try to make the team. And I thought that was kind of crazy. Mm-hmm. They had a real need at first base. There's a couple guys that could have played it.
And instead they made a change to his swing that limited his power, the only thing that he had on offense. It's like he said 20 home runs for the past 3 years, and then all of a sudden you're halfway through the season, you're like, he has one. What are we doing? He's hitting 270, so what?
Yeah, that's not the kind of help we needed, right?
No.
Yeah. Josh, this has been great, man. Thank you so much for doing this, man. I'll have to return the favor at some point.
Yeah, we need to show him.
In fact, I'm not busy Sunday night if you're bored. I can probably do
Yeah, maybe actually. Let me hit you up.
Let me know, man. I'll turn the favor. So anyways, this was episode 215 of Pirates Fan Forum. The Bridge to the Forum is the name of the episode. I like that. I like that. Yes, yes. Thank you all for joining us. And Jim, I think we might have some trouble next week yet. He's going to Hershey this weekend. Listen, all I can say is Ben is an all-star in multiple sports. Jim is going to one day be being the cock blocker that keeps him from going on other people's podcasts. I'm just saying, because he's going to be protecting him. He'll be his agent. He'll be like, I can't have Ben on. Not this week. He's too busy with his hockey. It's going to be great. He won't even be able to end the show for us anymore. That's awesome. Everybody, listen to Bridge to Bucktober if you haven't. They still do the show weekly. I think they're going to try the daily thing again next year. Have you decided?
Haven't decided yet, but I had a lot of fun doing it. And so it's going to come down to time and whatever else. So
understood. And if you need help, starting a GoFundMe to get you out of the whole work thing, I understand. Because we definitely need more of those deep dives into analytics that you're so good at, brother. And the Pirates community needs you. You're level-headed, one of the few, the proud. It's incredible to have you as a friend, my friend. Bridge to October, everybody. Ben, take it away.
Let's go back.
Yeah, buddy.